Hello, everyone. Welcome to another MGG Live. Whether you're watching from the Retro Bliss Gaming channel or from my channel, you're welcome here. I've got access to both chats, so we'll be able to see everything. Today, we're going to be talking about collecting, about curating our collections, about budgeting for collections, and we'll also kind of talk about the broader scheme of things. What type of collectors there are, and uh, and all that stuff. And I've got two great guests with me today. The first is Dr. Scott.
I'm great. Good Lord, thank you.
You are great, and actually, little plug for Scott. He's got a fantastic. If you're a fan of the Nintendo 64, or if you're a hater of the Nintendo 64, he's got a list of games that look fantastic on that console. It's a great video because, as we all know, that generation of gaming does not age very well in
No.
general. I actually, as he was going through his list, I was thinking of some more games that I thought would be great to be on that list. So maybe there'll be a part 2 in the future. But I did put a
That's the
link to that
plan.
video in the description. So after the podcast, go check that out. And my second guest is Casey, the Intellivision Gamer.
What's going on, guys?
Now he is great. So yay.
He is great. And you know what? He was even
talk about
greater
Intellivision.
yesterday. He was even greater yesterday because I was on his show and we were talking about our favorite homebrews right now. So link to his channel is also in the description. If you don't, I mean, you've made both of you have made a lot of appearances on my channel. I would hope that the people who watch the podcast are subscribed to you guys.
And if they're not, shame on you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you guys do a lot of different things. I'm specific. If you don't like Intellivision, there's really no reason to sub to me.
If you don't like Intellivision, you should watch Casey's show until you do. There's a lot to love there. I'm going to kick it off with this comment that was posted on my channel before the show even started. He said, mine would be how to spend every dime on retro gaming until you feel so guilty you stop and then start again because you can't stop.
I like that.
So, Scott, why don't, because Casey and I think, are similar kind of collectors in that once it, and I know that, Casey, you've sold your collections in the past, but right now, I think you and I are similar kind of collectors in that once it enters our archives, it does not leave.
No.
But Scott, you on the other hand are a very different type of collector. Why don't you tell us a bit about what kind of collector you are?
See, I think I'm more of a casual to moderate collector because, as I've mentioned to Mike before, I think that there are 4 categories of collectors. Now, we are going to be talking about all kinds of facets of collecting and different kinds of collectors. But from my point of view, and talking about just volume, there is the casual collector, the person who only wants a few things. I want to play a few games, get a couple consoles, and that's it. The moderate collector, they might have specific needs or wants, like I want a whole set of this or a whole set of that, or they might have a large enough budget that they might want to just collect all the time. Then there's the advanced collector, someone who has a couple of collections or has tons and tons of stuff. They've dedicated a whole floor of their house or a whole, maybe a couple large rooms of their house to their collections. And then there might even be a point where they're like, all right, I either need to move house or I need to get storage. And my main example for that was the gentleman in Australia who doesn't collect anymore, to my awareness, but Last Gamer. Joel had one of the most awesome collections ever, and the way it was displayed was just beautiful. And then the 4th category is the hoarder. They have tons and tons of stuff. It doesn't matter how much or how little space they have. They will collect everything and anything and until it just falls over and kills them. It could be garbage. It could be complete. It could be anything. And it could be in complete disrepair. It could be just literal junk like cardboard sitting on a shelf that has Pokemon on it or something like that, just because it used to have Pokemon on it. So I am not any of those. I think that I'm more casual to moderate because I'm not looking for like a whole collection of anything or
Yeah.
basically the only thing I would really like to collect minus say 3 games is I want to finish off my Activision for 2600. That's it. And I have 33 of them right now. And I have sold games in the past. I've sold whole consoles and the entire collection I've had in the past. And
Yeah.
So if I'm not playing with it, generally speaking, or if I know I'm not going to get to it, sometimes it might go on the chopping block, but there are regrets because I sold my entire Nintendo 64 collection before,
Yeah.
and then I repurchased it. So
At like 10 times the price, I'm sure.
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. For me, I've always viewed, like, I like how you kind of divide it into four sections. I've always viewed it like, like the political line, you've got your leftists, you got your rightists, and then there's everything in between.
Yeah.
I've always viewed it as, you get your people who collect as a commodity. These are the people that go to WATA, put games into acrylic boxes with the hope of it making them super expensive and nobody will ever play them again.
Yeah.
That's the one far end. And then on the other far end is the person who's got just a hard drive full of ROMs and doesn't care to have anything physically. They just want to play the games. And there's everything in between. And I think we would fall, in between there.
The digital gamer goes on that end as well. They may not be collecting ROMs or in that same respect, but they kind of are. Because I worked with a guy that was like that. He said, my Xbox One and my brother and I, we share a collection and it's all digital. And if I move, all I got to do is move my Xbox and my PlayStation and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's very, I guess that could be very liberating.
Oh, it absolutely would be. And as I stream more, I find that, like, and I know Casey's like this too. I'd love to get the physical copy, but it's so much more like I get the physical copy because I'm a collector.
Yeah.
But I also try to get the ROM because that's just easier to play.
Oh yeah.
The for me, I really have I could see myself falling into your hoarder category really damn easy. I'm not that bad there. To avoid that, I create rules for myself. I do not collect paper product like ad material. I don't collect toys. I don't collect any of that. I try to only collect the games and the systems. And, that might be complete in box with all the paperwork in it, but I'm not collecting loose paperwork. I'm not collecting magazines on it, although I do have some magazines. The only magazines that I keep in my collection are the ones that I've written in.
Okay.
But yeah, if I allowed myself to be like, oh, there's a Sonic toy, I need to add that. Oh, there's this cool ad I need to cut out of the paper.
Well, does that count like special editions? Because most special collector's editions now, for the most part, are garbage, in my opinion. But there are some out there. Now, of course, that's all of a matter of opinion.
Special editions fall in the category of I'm just going to respond to this real quick.
Yeah.
Papa Pete's been doing this for so many years. When we first started it being at Tuesday nights at 8:00, I didn't even realize we were going up against him. So I accept that he's going to win the ratings thing most nights. And hopefully those viewers that also watch us come and watch later. Special editions I allow because it's the game. And then, so I've got a lot of that limited run stuff. I actually had to remove myself from their mailing list because I was buying so much, and I'm always getting the super ultimate special edition.
Remove temptation.
Yes, so I have to remove temptation. But yeah, I'm definitely in that. I have about 5,500, actually probably getting closer to 6,000 games in my collection, physical games, and spanned across 80 some odd systems. And so I've probably played between 1.5 to 2,000 of them. So people would look at me and say, "Oh, you're a shelf collector," and they are not entirely wrong. There's, that ratio of play. Like I play new games all the time. That's part of why I do my mini reviews, is so that it forces me to play through my collections
Yeah.
and learn how to play every game and build opinions on it. But I would say that what was I? Oh, sorry. That ratio of played to not played in my collection, as my collection grows, is probably going to stay about the same. I will die with a very similar ratio of played to not played in my collection. If that makes me a shelf collector, okay. But I do play games. I would say I'm probably on the collector side of the spectrum, um, but just by virtue of what I've got. So, but I definitely have to set rules for myself to not go overboard and just completely be swamped with crap.
Right.
I think once your collection gets so big, we're pretty much all on that side. You can only play. There's only so much time in the day. Even in television alone, I have tons of games that I have never played. And like you, that's what I do my gameplay videos for, because it forces me to get in the games. And I found a lot of great games that way. What's going on, Roger?
That's a good point, because and I haven't done it in a while, but I think I had mentioned to Mike before that there've been a lot of games that I have on my shelf, and I will buy them because I do want it. And if something captivates me so much, because I'm not someone who feels you have to play through an entire game to give an honest review on it. You need to get far enough into it. You can't just go, okay, I played for 15 minutes and here's what I think. If it's a very simplistic game, sure. But you know, like with that RoboCop game that came out last year, and then the new chapter of it, which is coming out this week, or maybe it's next week, Rogue City. I'm a huge RoboCop fan anyway, so I sat there and played through that whole thing because not only was it a good story, but it's based on something that I have great nostalgia for on top of that, and they finally did it right. But there are games that I do have that I know I'm lying to myself that they're going to sit there on my shelf, and just like you guys said, I'm never going to play it. But Mike's even been on one of my live streams that I haven't done it in a while. But in order to finish a game that I do like, and of course life happens, that I will play
make
a game
content out of it.
Right. I will make content out of it just so I can say, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'll let a couple buddies sit around me and make fun of me as I try to, shoot these, bad guys, from 1936 Germany, and they get to see how bad I am at it, or good, which is more rare. But then I'm also making content out of it. And my eventual goal is to finish that game on air and be like, yeah, here's the credits. Okay, what's next? Yeah. So I think it's a good way to finish something that you started almost 20 years ago.
So Casey, what kind of collector are you? Tell us a bit about your journey.
Well, I get specific. So mostly I'm Gen 2, and television obviously is the big one. I'm one of the largest collectors in the world for that. I have some obscure stuff that I don't think any other television collector even owns, like the Tudor Vision and prototype Tudor Vision games. I've been really lucky. I have a kiosk plexer, which I don't know anyone else that has one of those, including people that have the kiosk itself. I've been at the right place at the right time several times, but I mainly collect Gen 2. I like mostly physical. I like ROMs to make it easy if I'm playing multiple games, like a whole bunch at once, where I can just reset and go. But I normally, like right here, I have all the original hardware. It's been upgraded, but original hardware, I play carts unless it's not convenient or it's a game that's not out yet. I have complete sets for some of the Gen 2 stuff. I like having everything complete. I'm a variant collector. That's a big term. That's an expensive term. I have to have every version of everything, and not everything I collect for, but in television is the one I do that for. I say I'm lucky if I'm a third I've played versus, shelf. I have good intentions. There's only so much time in the
We
day.
all have good intentions,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I
There's
constantly
only
make fun of the amount of games and shrink on your back shelf there.
that is shrinking, no pun intended.
Yes, it is.
That is
And I'm glad
shrinking.
to see that because as you show them on the show, you open them and you do that.
Yes. So I mean, I say I'm somewhere close to what you are. I'm trying to get to most of them. My biggest backlog are Atari games, Odyssey. I am getting into a lot of the Intellivision games, but I've pretty much given up. I have everything all the way to modern games, everything in between. I mostly just play Gen 2. I might go to NES and Master System, but I'm pretty much just playing the older stuff, Gen 2 and 3. And that's what's getting all my money, my time, and occasionally I pick up other things. I'm an opportunistic collector. If I see something
Well,
I
you're
want,
always hunting too.
yeah, I can't say no. I just let me have it. I have zero. I can't say no.
Yeah. This Lloyd Bongwater here makes a good point. When you've got kids, so like 2600, 7800, NES, Sega, and introducing them to it, he says when he collects, it mostly has to be playable. And I think what he means by playable is not just you have to be able to play the game, but they have to be good because you're not going to win people over with bugs or
No.
Or
like
extremely
crap
difficult
games.
games. Young kids aren't going to stick around to learn a difficult game.
Yeah. So and that's one of the things too. When I first introduced the first introduction my oldest had to video games was the Atari 2600. And he loved ice hockey and he loved Freeway and he loved Oink. And then we we moved on to NES and he loved Excite Bike and he loved Mario Brothers. I didn't show him The Legend of Zelda because at his age was probably about 5 by the time we made it to NES. Like you have to have a walkthrough or you have to know what to do in order to beat Zelda. And so I didn't show that to him. I showed him ones that made more sense. And then when he was a little older and ready to throw controllers, I introduced him to Mega Man. But the question here is, do any of us have the new stuff? I have all the new stuff. I have a PlayStation 5, I have an Xbox One X, and I have a Switch. I do not have the Switch 2 yet.
Nor
I
do
really
I.
want the Switch 2, but
I'm quite
I can
indifferent.
wait. I can wait. I find I don't play like PS5 and the Xbox Series X or whatever it's called. They don't really do much for me. I'm kind of getting to the age where like you say, the games are such a big commitment. When I do play modern games, it's usually like the indie 4-player games I play with my kids on the Switch.
Those are a lot of fun.
I'd rather play stuff that's not so large in scope and it doesn't take you out of your actual life inside of a life inside the machine.
Yeah.
Because I remember a friend of mine one time said, he was like, I won't play Grand Theft Auto, I won't play this, I won't play that. He goes, I have a job. And I was like, yeah, that's about right.
I cannot tell you how much of my life I lost to Fallout 4. I built an entire civilization on the Xbox One, with like I 100%ed it. I 100%ed all the DLC, and in the main world, in my settlements, I actually built museums. So like when I'd kill one of the bosses, I would take their clothes and put it on a mannequin in the museum. Like I
That's
created
cool.
a whole world there, and as fun as engrossing as that was, I've got a real life too. I've got 3 kids, I've got a wife, I've got a mortgage, I got a job. I can't be doing that. I can't be doing that.
Well, that's why, and I had mentioned this at another another point, and maybe the last time that I was on, that I don't get to play too much for enjoyment anymore. I still do, but a lot of the time, since I do have a YouTube channel, I'm always trying to think, well, what's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 videos down the road. And sometimes I'll have an idea for something and it won't come to fruition for months or sometimes even a year because different things keep popping up. So it's like, well, it's on the front burner, now it's on the back burner, now it's in the fridge, and it'll eventually come up. And it's just like, well, when am I going to just sit down and not turn the game capture on and play something for fun? So that's what I've been finding, actually, that I've been doing with my Nintendo 64 stuff recently. And I know that I'm going to do that a lot more once the analog gets here. I'm not going to I didn't buy the analog just for the channel, but when that gets here, it's going to live in my living room, not here in the studio. And I know my daughter and I are just going to have a lot of fun just popping the cartridges in and having fun with it, because, as you mentioned earlier, the 64, it is one of those kind of bridge from one era to another kind of systems. And there are a lot of games that don't look that great, especially on LCD. They were born for CRT, but I think the kids can really enjoy cartridge systems, especially younger kids, that is. And you don't have to worry about anything getting scratched, anything like that. And we as collectors sitting there going, "Oh, did you put that back in the thing correctly?" So we don't have to, we can have fun with it without the collector in the back of our head going, "Okay, did that get messed up? Is it? No, let me handle that for you, sweetheart."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely that side of it. So in terms of curating, like, I have a lot of rules. And so, for instance, like I said, I don't collect toys, I don't collect the ad material, I collect games and I collect consoles. Special editions I will go for. I've got that Metal Gear Phantom Pain Arm special edition.
I thought that was cool, but I was like, what am I going to do?
It was so cool, but then when I got it, I'm like, I was kind of wanting like a full size arm, and it was like 2/3 size. It's like, darn it.
And I still haven't played all the way through the game. So.
Oh yeah. But and then in terms of complete in box, some systems I will only collect complete in box. Some systems I don't care. I gave up on complete in box NES and SNES really early because of how expensive that stuff is. But the stuff I had as a kid, mostly I have complete in box. And my favorite series. So I have all the Metroid games complete in box. I have all the Final Fantasy games complete in box. I have all the Mario games, Super Mario Brothers.
I wish I had all my Atari games boxes. That'd have been so cool.
I've got all the Castlevania games complete in box, at least the ones on the Nintendo and Super Nintendo. But some of the systems that I only collect complete in box include Jaguar, 32X in television, and it makes it pricey. And like Master System, I'm 3 games away from a complete North American Master System set.
Nice.
But
Buster?
those three games are going to cost me probably $700-800 because I want them complete in box, and I want the North American version. I don't want the cheaper European version. I want it to be the North American version.
Hold on. So you already have Buster Douglas?
I have Buster Douglas.
Oh, when you said that amount, I'm like, well, you can't even buy Buster for that.
Yeah, I have Buster Douglas.
Do you have Little Samson?
That's an NES game, not a Master System game. Yeah, I have Little Samson. I do not have it complete in box. I didn't have it as a kid.
Because that's impressive enough just having it.
I have an Action 52 complete in box.
Oh, that's
because I had that one when I was a kid.
Yay, Cheetah Man!
Yeah, and it was, it's It's not your typical thing either.
What games are the 3 that are that expensive for the Master System? I have to know.
One is
Buster Douglas.
Golden Axe Warrior. Like my list is somewhere.
Okay.
I'm at the point with several sets that when I go like, and we'll talk about curating. Well, we're kind of talking about it now. So I have CLZ, or for Yankees, CLZ games. It's now a subscription service. I'm grandfathered in because I've had it for so long. But this keeps track of your collection, and when I get a game, I enter it in. But with certain systems, I now just have a PDF that I update that has, like, this is the 3 games I need for Master System. These are the 15 I need for 7800. These are the 10 I need for 5200 set. And it just makes it so much easier to look at that as opposed to scrolling through, 100 games. Do I have this one? So unfortunately, CLZ does not track my consoles. It only tracks the games, but it is a very, very good service. I know there are other ones out there that are probably better now, but I've been using CLZ for well over a decade. It's been a lifesaver for me because I was starting to get to the point where I would buy the same game again because I didn't know that I had it.
I've never
we
done
don't
that.
want to do that.
I've done that a couple of times.
I think Casey does it on a nearly daily basis.
Not that often.
So in terms of curation, do you have rules for yourself, Casey?
Like I said earlier, if I see something I like, I buy it. If I overspend, where I work, we have 7 days a week, 12-hour shifts we can pull. It's all double time. I work when we're not busy to pay for my addiction. So if I see it, I want it, I grab it. But like I said, I don't do that with everything. I buy everything in television. I don't care if it's an ad, a lunch pail that had in television on it, everything for that. Everything Gen 2 is CIB, unless it's something rare and I see it loose, I might get that. But
even like 2600, you'll only get 2600 CIB. That's a damn near impossible set.
And I have way more CIB games than I have loose. But if I get some big lot and there's a bunch in there and I don't have them, I save them. I have them all. I have stacks of them sitting there, but I do collect CIB for the 2600. What the funny thing is, growing up, all my friends' houses, you didn't see anyone with boxes for the 2600. I never did. They all had the games lined up, and that was it. And in television, most people that had that as a kid, you saved everything because you had the overlays and you had to have that stuff accessible. But I don't remember boxes for 2600 when I was a kid.
So you don't have any. You just kind of go for the best of everything. You don't have rules because I know you collect ads. Yep. I know you collect. Do you collect toys?
Items?
Yeah.
Like I said, within television, if I don't have it, I want it. I mean, if you make something modern right now, I might not buy everything like that. But if it's original and I don't have one, I go for it.
Yeah.
I mean, there was that KC printer cable that was 1200 and someone brokered a deal. I wanted it, but some things they just post too much money even for me, and I'm like, I can't do that.
Well, that would have been more money than you spent on your Tudor Vision.
Yeah, but the Tudor Vision is insane. Worth a lot more.
Oh, it's worth. Oh, that man! If I had found a deal, and that's the thing. Like, as a Canadian, I am so jealous. Because in the United States, you go to a swap and they have so much stuff that you very rarely see up here, or it's much more expensive up here. Now, thanks to Tollbat, I do have a complete Game Wave collection now. That is my first complete set. I did get that VeggieTales that he had mentioned on the podcast a while back. Canada's Kid here asks, are sports games worth more if they're signed by an athlete who's in the game? Sports games, for the vast majority of them, are completely worthless.
Yeah.
to a video game collector. So I cannot imagine that an autograph would not increase that value. If
And there,
depends on the athlete.
I mean, there are a couple of sports games that do have a actual value. Like what was the NCAA Pro Football? Was it 14 for the Xbox 360 and PS3?
There are some sports
Yeah.
games that do hold value, but
But the
they tend
second,
not to be the,
right?
MLB 2010, MLB 2011, MLB, like
But
they're
the
worth like
second,
$2.
The new one came
that
out.
yeah, the second that new one came out, then it started falling from like $250 to, it was like overnight $85, then
Because you could get it
$50.
again.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh, okay, and then everybody's like, oh, okay, well, let's get rid of it now. It's like it's just another sports game, so it's no
And
big deal.
So, and Casey, sorry, Casey, how do you keep track of your
Okay,
stuff?
so I do have a lot of apps that I've paid for. I try them, but that I'm not kidding. It literally take me, I feel like, years to put all that in. And sometimes when you get new phones and they stop updating, I've had that
Yeah.
happen before and I can't open it anymore and I've lost all that time. So I'm Stone Age when it comes to that. I have lists for everything. I use my iPhone. I have Notepad. I put the lists in. I can add pictures. It's always
Not
back-
even an Excel spreadsheet. You're using Notepad.
Notepad. I have a list separately. I can search for a game, a console, a collection.
Mhm.
I do have some stuff in Excel, like in television stuff, and I keep track of heavy details. I go to Excel spreadsheet, but I go to a lot of local shows, medium, large local events, faraway events. I want everything on my phone. I want to just be able to open it up. I know it's going to work. If I don't have my phone, I can log in anywhere, pull my list. No matter what, I know it's there, and it's never going to go away. So I just use that, and it's working for me.
I will be, well, let me rephrase that. My wife and I, because she's just amazing when it comes to, spreadsheets and stuff anyway, but I do have an app and it's like I collect everything, but it's not the best app in the world because values and things aren't updated. It's kind of like, in a way, it kind of reminds me of Wikipedia. Anybody can take a picture and put it in there and you're like, this is the crappiest picture you could possibly put in. And yes, you can take your own photos for stuff, or you can get them from the web if they exist for, game art and everything. But it's just like some of this, it's not the best app in the world, but I keep track, of what I've got. And there are those times where I forget to put stuff in. I'm like, I think I have that at home, but this is $3. Like when I bought ice hockey the other day from Activision, I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't own it. And then when I got to the car, I'm like, well, let me check one of my videos because all my Activision games are right behind me. I go, no, I don't have it. So, but the values would be nice. But my collection is sitting right now at approximately 1,540 games. And almost all of my Atari stuff's loose. My two largest collections are either I'm not sure which one is the largest. It's either my 360 or my Atari collection. And my Atari collection, I've really been, kind of getting rid of the, I don't need Casino. I mean, goodbye.
Casino is awesome. I swear, do not say that you tossed a Video Olympics, because if
I know
Jeremiah Thomas watches, he's going to yell at you.
I won't say. But anyway, I actually enjoyed Casino back in the day. But now I'm just kind of like, who cares? And if I want to play it, if I really want to play it that badly, and yes, I'm going to say it, I can emulate it, or I have a ROM, or what have you. And there are collections.
I have a feeling that you on that kind of spectrum, you are closer to that ROM side than Casey and I.
I would say absolutely, because there are some games that if I want to relive something that I don't have anymore, I can easily just access it very quickly and go, yeah, this was that game. Okay, I've had my 3 minutes of fun and I'm done. I don't care if it's sitting on a shelf or sitting in a box somewhere. I don't care if it's complete. Now, some of some of the more nostalgic games that I have, like I have a copy of Sequest in box. I have a sealed copy of Pac-Man. God forbid, why do I have one? But I do. I have a sealed copy of Pac-Man here, and I have Defender.
You have
and a
it
few others.
specifically to keep it sealed so that nobody has to play it. Yeah.
Well, you got to keep them safe. Now, just a FYI, there is a storm coming in, so if I disappear, something's happened, like the power's gone out or whatever. So
it's what you get for slagging off Pac-Man 2600.
Yeah, well,
here's a question from Cannabis Kid. What are your thoughts on this homebrew games? Do you think they're worth more if they're signed by the author?
No.
He has a copy of NES Homebrew Gas Attendant Simulator signed by the author. Me personally, I don't think it's worth any more, but it's neat to have.
Yeah.
It's a cool collectible, especially now there is one homebrew game that I have that is signed by the programmer that is worth a lot of money. And that is because the programmer was Ralph Baer.
Okay.
That is the only reason it's worth a lot of money, because he's the father of home video games. It's the game itself is not very good. It was a prototype of, and actually he designed it. He didn't actually even program it. But it's a pinball game that he designed for the Odyssey 2. And somebody else programmed it, and then they just finished it up and put it on a cartridge. And this was like a couple months before he died, he signed the first 100 copies, and I have one of those.
That's cool.
So that is valuable, but it's not valuable because it's a homebrew game signed by the author. It's valuable because it is a legend of the industry that you cannot get his autograph anymore.
I know in sports cards, autographs are huge. People go to all these events, pay big money. It's a huge thing. But for me, an autograph, especially on a homebrew, is a personal thing, because I was at an event and I grabbed the game. I bought the game there from them, and I had them sign it.
Yeah. That is my goal, because I have a physical copy of this game, this Mystique game.
Yeah.
And I would like to know who programmed it, because I would love to go and get them to sign it. That would be awesome to me.
But signatures on homebrew games, that's something personal for me. Yeah. I would never, in fact, as a collector, I don't want it to be signed if I was buying a game, unless I had two of them.
It depends, especially it's also how it's signed. I used to be a hockey card collector. I know, not baseball, because I'm Canadian. But the first autograph I ever got, he signed it in a pen. And that destroys the value of the card. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be Bobby Orr or Wayne Gretzky. It destroys the value of the card. That's when you get Sharpies and all that. And I've got some I do have a Bobby Orr autograph card. In certain situations, it increases the value. In other situations, it decreases the value. It depends on the buyer. I think when you get something signed, it makes it more niche. But the people who want it will pay at least your sticker price of the game. I don't think it reduces the value of games.
Right. Yeah, because I have a couple of games signed by the immortal John Hancock. And, John...
he gives... You don't even have to ask. You buy them, it comes signed.
Well, I
had him sign the box extra.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about John, and I like John every time I see him. I shocked the heck out of him last time I did see him, because we were talking about our ages. And when he said something about my age, and I go, John, I know how old you are. You don't know how old I am. And he goes, what do you mean? I go, I'm a lot older than you. And he goes, no. And I go, and I told him, and he couldn't believe it. But anyway, so as a joke, he really loves the game ice hockey for the NES. So every time I see him now, it is. And every time I see him now, I if I'm at a con, whether he and I are guests together or not, I always take a copy of ice hockey and have him sign. I have two so far. So the next time I see him, which I believe is in Pittsburgh, I'm going to be going, here, John, sign this. Again.
See, that is something that I think is more likely to devalue a game because he didn't
Yeah.
have anything to
Had
do with
nothing
the
to do with it.
programming of it or creation of it.
Well,
He's just somebody who likes it.
John Riggs gifted a game to me when I was at CGC last year that he told me about, and he goes, "Well, I saw it out on the floor, and I thought I'd get it." And I go, "All right, you're signing it." And yeah, it probably does devalue the game,
But that makes it a personal thing.
but it makes it a personal thing.
Yeah.
But John Hancock's games himself, him signing them, it's also a personal thing. And like you said, John just passes them out like he's dealing out candy at Halloween. It's a personal thing. Now, if Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak and Nolan Bushnell all signed Breakout, now that'd be a little different, So
well, and the signature there that would have the real value would be Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs, because he's no longer with us.
Because he's no longer with us.
Right.
I think Drunky Cheese wins though, because he has Mega Man 2 signed by Fabio. So, the third thing we were talking about, I put in the title, budgeting. You've kind of already talked about it, Casey, but I think like even with it's like, oh, I work lots and lots of overtime and all that. How and I know your wife is a very understanding woman, but how do you get away with it? Because you spend a lot, like you look for deals but like you bought a Wing War and television box for like $600.
Wow.
That was one of those
How
things.
do you get away with that?
It was in the moment with some of the biggest collectors in the world, and you kind of get caught up in that. That was a live private auction from the Intellivision Mega Booth, and I was like, I'm gonna win that. I'm taking it home. And
it becomes kind of a dick measuring contest at that point.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was.
I get it. I totally get it. I get it.
Well, some of us don't have to measure. We just know we're.
But here's why I get it. Because many years ago, before I even played the game Crazy Climber for the 2600, I wanted it when I was a kid. I saw it in the Atari age. My mom said no. And then years later, there I am, in my own hometown where there's a huge flea market. And there's this older gentleman who sold video games, and he would go to garage sales and he would sell them for a few bucks more, turn it over a little bit, collecting that little extra money. But there was another guy who worked there, or not worked there, who had a booth outside, and his name's Mike, and he owns a store in Cleveland, a really cool store, Video Game Connection. If anybody's been to Video Game Connection, it's a little hole in the wall, but it's a great place. And Mike's a really cool guy. I was getting up. I was going to. This Mike is too, but I was going to the flea market before they would officially open, and I'm going there, like going up and down every aisle. And my wife at the time, my ex-wife, she's like, "All right, see you later." And I would go up and down the aisles. And I got there one morning. I got there about 15 to 20 minutes later than I should have, because I got stuck behind like a train or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to this older gentleman, and I was just like, "Oh," and he goes, "What are you looking for today?" And I go, "I'm still looking for Crazy Climber." And he goes, "Oh," "I sold it to that Mike guy like not just 3 minutes ago." And he goes, and I only had $5 on it, but he offered me 20. And I went. So then I was at Video Game Connection here. I saw him later, and I said, "Oh man!" And he goes, "Yeah, I got it." He and he wasn't rubbing it in. So I'm at Video Game Connection maybe 2-3 years later,
mm-hmm.
and I'm down in the basement of the place where his whole collection is, and it's just massive. And this was like 25 years ago, and there he has this little case on top of this basement fireplace mantle.
Mm-hmm.
And he has 5 Atari games in there, and 2 of them were Waterworld, StoreQuest Waterworld, and Crazy Climber. And I go, "Yep, there's my effing Crazy Climber right there." And he kind of laughs, and he goes, "Man," he goes, "You would have bought it too." And I go, "Yeah, I would have." But I totally get it, Casey, because if he and I would have been standing there, and it'd been like if I had a wad of money in my pocket, and he's like, "No, I'll give you 25 for it." And be like, "Screw that, I'll give you 50 for it." What did I do? I got so mad at myself for missing it. I went out and bought it on eBay like 2 days later. And as soon as I got it, I go, "This is awful." And I sold it for like 80. I bought it for $85. And I think I sold it for like 86 or 87.
Well, at least you made $1 profit.
Yeah. I mean, it's only a couple bucks more, but I get it. You're there in the moment, and you have like this really particular niche, and this real love for Intellivision that you kind of had to have it in that moment. So I totally understand. And I don't know your wife, but I bet she gets it too.
Okay, so
Nope.
here's the thing.
I got to talk about the wife.
Okay, yes, but before you talk about your wife, and before I talk about my two, no, not Kevin Cos, not the Virtual Boy Waterworld. He's talking about
Sword Quest Waterworld.
Sword Quest Waterworld. Go ahead, Casey. Talk about your wife.
So she's not really completely understanding because I mean, what you see here is just a tiny little piece. It's insane. I have a 420 square foot game room you could barely move in here. I have a insulated shop that has walls of tubs. I have like arcades out there. There's a ton of stuff. It's like beyond normal. It's like it's an addiction, and
You
she
are
doesn't
beyond normal.
like it, but she knows I'm not going to stop. I'm going to do what I want. I work hard to get that. If she knew she could say, "Hey, stop buying all this crap," and she would say it, but she knows I'm not going to. Plus, some of you guys know she's getting something she always wanted, and that's costing me like close to 30 grand, and she can say nothing ever again, even though my collection is way over that. She's getting what she wants.
So before I talk about the different approaches of, well, the similar but different approaches of both my ex-wife and my current wife, future is overrated. Let's talk 70s and 80s. Down the road, when we old guys start dying off, who's going to collect this stuff? The local landfill? Sadly, these great collections will disappear into oblivion. I like to think that, you know what? In television, I could see that happening too. I could see that happening to Odyssey and Odyssey 2. I could see that happening to a lot. I don't see that happening to the bigger name stuff. I don't see that happening to Atari or Nintendo or Sega in the same way. Certainly, interest level will be a lot lower, but big, significant, it's like buying vinyl. That has had a resurgence in the last little while. But people have always been looking for Beatles records or Elvis records or Michael Jackson records, like even the more current stuff.
Yeah.
It's calling Michael Jackson current. Didn't he die like 15 years ago? But
yeah, maybe a little longer than that.
I could see that happening to some things. But I truly hope that the legacy of it lives on. I know my kids, I've told them, like, you can sell all my stuff when you die, just pick what you want. And my oldest son, who is 19 in November, he said, no, we're going to want to keep that. And that made me smile. And if I go to my grave thinking that, that's totally fine. And then he sells it. But I've made the comment before too, because like Phil just recently turned 60 years old, Retro Bliss. You two
and
gentlemen,
happy birthday, Phil.
Yes, that was last week.
Wow. The
but
day after surgery. What a birthday.
Yeah. But a lot of second gen collectors and fans are in their 50s and 60s. And older. I am 44 in September. I will be like one of, provided I live to a decent age, I will be one of the last guys standing. It'll be just me talking to like 3 viewers on YouTube about Atari and Intellivision and stuff. So it is my sincere hope that that doesn't happen, but it very well could.
Everything has a window. If there's not people around wanting it, remembering it, nostalgic for it, everything to me has a window. The value will go down once there's not many people that want it. When it gets so old.
But then when the value goes down and a lot of that stuff gets tossed, like go on eBay and try buying like the little tin toys from the 1920s.
Yep.
They used to be a dime a dozen, and now you're spending thousands of dollars for this little tin dog or something.
Well, I was searching
because there's so few of them left.
I was searching for River Raid 2 today, or the 2600. Guess what? There's not one on eBay at all.
And if you find one,
yeah. Thankfully, I already have my River Raid 2, but I prefer River Raid to River Raid 2.
Yeah, I've played the ROM, and I'm like, eh.
Benji here says, thing is, we don't drink or do drugs. This is our thing, and it's what makes us happy.
Good point.
Exactly.
And he's like I don't even really watch sports, but I love gaming.
That's it. I'm going to start drinking.
And Benji is Australian. The fact that he doesn't drink or really watch sports is actually very concerning to me.
And then he's awake right now.
So. But I will say, I don't drink much. I don't do drugs. And I do watch a lot of hockey, though. So let me talk about my my experience with wives. My first wife was, as long as you're paying the bills, do whatever you want. Probably, and I know she wasn't a huge fan of it, but the kids loved it, and I got the kids involved in it, and that's how I won it over. I would win those. But her question was always, where are you going to put it? Like, the basement was mine, and things started, I would buy new stuff, and, I have to build a new shelving unit, or now I have to do this, or now I have to do that. And I know it got tiresome. My current wife, she actually loves the fact that I collect. It keeps me honest. When you're gaming, like Benji said, you're not doing drugs, you're not drinking, you're not out philandering or doing whatever. You're
right.
She knows where I am. I'm down in the basement. I'm making YouTube videos, or I'm playing games, or I'm tinkering in the garage. Like, she always kind of knows what I'm up to. So there is that. It's like, Jay Leno would say that about his wife. He's like, I'm not out at the bars or at the clubs or something. I'm in the garage tinkering on a car.
Yeah.
Because he's a big car guy, right? So I think that's, yeah, I think that's kind of it, really. Like, you don't necessarily. I would love if my wife would actually play some of these games with me. My wife grew up in a war zone on the other side of the world. She does not have any nostalgia for video game anything. She doesn't even have a single game on her phone.
Wow.
So unfortunately, the only time I've gotten her to play a game was 2023. I did a birthday video, my birthday, where I played Atari games against my entire family. And that is the only time I played combat with her.
That was a fun video too.
And she wanted it to be done as soon as we started.
My wife will play games like Mario Kart, Super Mario Bros. If we're all playing and the kids want her to play, and it's one of those like 4-player games on the Switch or something, she'll join in, but she's pretty much just there. She has zero interest in it.
My wife has a higher rank than I do in Rainbow Six Vegas too.
Yeah, I've watched her kick your butt in it. Yeah.
Yeah, she has she used to play a lot online if I was at work or something, and she would get home and she'd be like, "Do you know how many times I had to like reconnect because I kept getting booted?" I'm like, "Booted? Why?" She'd be like, "Well, they find out I was a girl, so they would boot me." I'm like, "Oh, great." But yeah, she's good.
Yeah, on monetary front, cigarettes and drinks and all that, they add up. I have one of those habits, unfortunately. I would like to kick that habit and save that money.
I think budgeting wise, I come from a couple of different schools of thought. It's like if you've got the money, if you've got the money and if you've got the space and you've got the passion, go ahead. But if you're limited on space, you're limited on cash, then I think I think it's gonna put you in a different category, obviously, because you can't just go out there and say, "Oh, I'll have 3 little Samsons, and by the way, or whatever. Give me a Panic restaurant while you're at it. But I think that's going to make your choices of what you're going to spend a little more finite, your space, and of course, your resources. But I think sometimes I think that there's even people out there who are just like, well, you know what? I already have a bunch of stuff I've already played. Let me go trade it in at GameStop, which I can't say that I've done it in the past before. I would never do it again, especially now.
I sold a
yeah.
lot of my original, like this was ages ago. Before I started really collecting, I sold a ton of my original Xbox games for like $1 a piece at a garage sale.
But
And the one thing I will say when it comes to budgeting, with the exception of like a new console, I do not use my credit card for my gaming hobby.
That's a dangerous road.
It is, or like if I'm ordering online, obviously you have to use your credit card, but I pay it off immediately.
Right. That's a rule that I have too. If I don't have the money on hand, I don't buy it. Period. And I've practiced that for a very long time because
you can get yourself into a lot of trouble if you don't do it that way.
Yeah,
and I do that on, like, if I'm at PRG and you're already spending thousands to go, the trip, everything you buy, and I happen to see something I just have to have, and I'm getting low on cash, I will do that. But like the first week I'm back, I just work and I'll pay it off. But it has to be something big. I don't like to do that at all. I don't do it on a regular basis. That's a dangerous road to go down. I will use my card to get points and then just pay it. But
speaking of points, here's a little thing that I quite often do. You gain points throughout the year. Even like for work, I travel. I have a work credit card, but I put all my travel expenses on my own credit card and just get reimbursed from work so that I get all the points.
Yep.
At the end, and then when it comes to Cyber Monday in November, I go onto my banking site and all the gift cards that you can buy with your points are like 25% off. So I get the most for my points. And what I would do is always get Best Buy gift cards. And then on Boxing Day after Christmas, I would buy myself, like, my Xbox One. I bought myself my Xbox One for free using Best Buy gift cards that I got by redeeming my points. Obviously, nobody was going to buy that for me for Christmas, but on Boxing Day, because on Boxing Day it's also on sale. So there are different things that you can do to try to maximize your gaming budget, and I definitely take advantage of those when I can.
I've always hit the sales. We've all talked about this before. If you can go to pawn shops are awesome for picking up stuff cheap. And I'm
That's not a scam, Drunky Cheese. It's taking advantage of the system.
It is, yeah. It is. If you can buy stuff in lots from either auctions or garage sales, I would now. I'm not saying going to a gaming expo. Going to a gaming expo is going to let you find stuff you may have never been able to get hold of locally before. And you might find a deal here or there, but it's not going to be usually from people who own a store, a brick and mortar store, or dealers who do this on a regular basis. That's usually going to be mom and pop who have a bunch of stuff they just want to get rid of. Or, somebody like me. I've gone a couple of times and sold a bunch of stuff that I don't want anymore, and I don't want to trade this stuff in. And if nobody's going to buy it on Marketplace, then maybe once a year I'll go to a swap meet and I'll get rid of a few things, and because I need the space. But budget wise, the best thing to do is just spend what you've got. Don't spend above your head. Don't go into hock for anything.
Take your time. I mean, if you're on a budget and you have limited space, it's like you don't need to be buying everything everywhere you go. Just downsize what you want, focus on certain things, and get a little bit of a time, and slowly you'll build it up.
Yeah.
And
You're going to run out of room no matter how much if you keep buying, you're going to run out of room no matter what space you have.
And one big thing that I used to do is I used to buy almost everything in lots. So, like Jesse here says, he uses the money he gets from his console services to pay for the hobby. And if you can do that, if you can have some kind of side hustle that pays for the hobby, that's the best thing you can do. And what I used to do is I would hop on to Kijiji, which is like Canadian Craigslist. So I'll just say Craigslist, and this was before Facebook Marketplace. Or I'd go to garage sales and I'd buy things in lots. Let's say
Mhm.
there you buy 30 games and you only need 2 of them. Well, I can sell those other 28 games for more than I paid for the 30. And what I used to do was go to local game swaps once or twice a year, and I would just fill my table with duplicates. Now, unfortunately, some of the duplicates that I've sold for way, way less than if I had just kept them is 2 Vectrex machines, several complete in box Jaguars and complete in box Jaguar CDs. Just stuff that is worth a damn fortune now. That I sold. Like I remember I was selling complete in box Jaguar for $150 Canadian.
Oh.
And I felt good about it at the time because it was
Yeah.
like 3 times what I paid.
So you still got your money out of it. So
I did, but at the same time, it's like if it would have, well, and let's be honest, it wouldn't have paid for the storage area for me to keep it for all this time, but it still hurts.
yeah.
I keep saying that I'm going to do that. I have so many doubles of homebrews. Like I bought 6 IntelliClub kits. I keep saying when I go to PRG, because they'll give me a little part of a table, I'm going to lay some stuff out and then I could maybe pay for myself. But it's time. Now I can't go shopping, which is why I go. I have to sit there and watch my table and sell stuff.
Yep.
And or like when I do that
Well,
at home,
there is a bit of a
selling things. I don't have the time to do what I want to do, let alone sell.
At the Intellivision booth, there is kind of a tag team philosophy where people watch
Yeah.
your stuff. Now, as a Canadian, I am coming to Portland, but as a Canadian, I can't sell anything. So even if I do have some stuff I could throw on that tape, but I can't bring it because it's illegal unless I fill out tax paperwork. It's illegal for me to sell anything in the U.S.
Oh, okay.
So, this was a fun chat, guys. Two very different collector types on the show, and it was nice to kind of get the opinions of all of them.
I have one
go ahead.
more quick thing that I'm curious about.
Sure.
How do you guys store your stuff? Do you have a backlog of things that you need to do in your game room for your collection, like log them, go through them? How do you, like, sometimes I have boxes and boxes and piles of things. Do you guys have that as well? Backlog for your collecting?
Mike, you first.
I'm just going to respond to this first, especially with the way things are being enforced in the United States right now. As a Canadian, I'm not messing with any of those rules. I'm not bringing so much as a T-shirt to sell. So most of my stuff is on shelves. I do have a lot of shelving down here. I do have 36 of my game consoles set up on my television. They're all, I've got a big entertainment unit that kind of fits the ones that I use the most often. But I do have, like, all my disc games I have in disc binders, and the boxes and the cases are in boxes that I store in my garage. I don't do that with my cardboard boxes because I don't want them to get potentially ruined.
Yeah.
These and they're not in cardboard boxes; they're in plastic box. Like they're fine. And my garage is it's not climate controlled, but it doesn't get humid in there. It doesn't get damp or anything like that.
Same.
And then I have just behind there and to the left is my furnace room, which is actually a really big room. And it's got shelves all around it. That's where I keep all my game system boxes. Any big stuff is all stored in there. But I do, especially because like this is my work office as well as my studio for YouTube. I have stuff sitting around, like something that I did for Scott, that hasn't even come out yet. I still have that system and game sitting right here. I have my Channel F is over there. I've got Norseman 2 sitting right here. Like stuff that I'm currently working on, I slowly get it back out to where it belongs. As for homebrew games that I've reviewed, they have like a whole, as well as Atari 2600 that I've done mini reviews, they have their own area because like I've already done this, so I don't accidentally go and review the same thing again. Because I've been doing this now for approaching, well, about 2.5 years. And that is a lot of games that I've covered. And I might
You lose
forget, oh,
track.
yeah, in 2023, I already reviewed this one.
What was the question again?
How do you store your games?
Oh, yeah. Well,
And do you have a backlog like of things that you're doing with your collection? I mean, do you make sure they work when you bring them home, or you just stick them?
no, it's if I get something, 99% of the time I check it, within the first couple days as soon as I walk in, because I did get, I won't say specifically which, because I don't want it to reflect on a specific expo, because it's not their fault. There was a game that I did get and it looked perfect, and when I got it home and put it in my Xbox Series X, it would get halfway and it wouldn't work. It would load up halfway, and I'm like, okay. And I had it cleaned a couple of times, even though it was perfect, and it's still, I mean, that it happens. And it's a relatively new game too. My Atari stuff, within a couple of days, I'll pop it in, make sure it works. Sega Genesis, whatever. But when it comes to storing everything, almost all of I'd say 99% or 98% of all my disc-based games are all back here. And I do have a few in a storage ottoman out in the living room. So it's just like, whatever the stuff that we always just kind of, pop in out there, which is usually only 2 games, even though there's like probably 50 in there. But I do have underneath this desk, there is a Rubbermaid container that has all of my Super Nintendo games that are in the box. And I don't have that many by comparison to a lot of people, but all the ones that I have in boxes that are in the little plastic protective cases, and everything's all put away in there. And I have a closet that's right off camera here that has a lot of stuff. And I have Rubbermaid containers under my bed. And simply because I don't have the shelving built that I want in here yet. Yeah. And transitionally, that's supposed to happen hopefully before winter. And if it doesn't, oh well. And then the dynamic of this entire thing will look completely different. And I won't have all this stuff sitting around in crates and things under the bed and all that stuff too. So I try to maintain it the best I can without any of it, getting smashed, nicked, destroyed, simply because I'm not one of those hoarder people who are just like, I'm just gonna shove it in a closet and good luck, because I knew a guy like that.
I do consider myself a caretaker of what's in my collection.
Yeah.
Casey,
that's a good way to think of a caretaker.
Yeah. I already know what your situation is, but why don't you finish this off?
I've cleaned a lot of that up. So for me, I was doing really well with my collection and keeping everything up to date, organized. I have a lot of organized stuff, but I also have a ton. I buy so much, go to so many local shows. I get where I can't even walk in here sometimes, and this is a big room. It just piles up, and it's like, do I want to make a video or do I want to go through my collection? It's like they fight each other for my time, and I pretty much give everything that I do just enough time of me to happen, but not the time that I should give something. So if that makes sense, it's like if I need to put out a video, everything else gets on hold. I'll do that. If I get to where I'm having a hard time, I have so many things I need to put away, I won't do anything extra. I won't do some of the other stuff. I'll come up here and stay up late and go through it all. But it's like it's a constant battle with not enough free time, and it stresses me out sometimes because it's like all these things that I want to do and take care of because I'm an organized person, but it's either don't buy it or, stay up late and try to do something with it.
What adds to that so bad is my wife, if like something in the living room upstairs, like we have a rule, and it's my rule. Like, there's no gaming stuff in our bedroom. There's no gaming stuff in the family room, or
No games in the
you know,
bedroom?
no, well, no video games. uh, but the worst is like if there's something in the living room that she doesn't want there, it doesn't matter if it's mine, it doesn't matter if it's hers, it doesn't matter whatever. It just gets thrown into the basement. And it's like, that's my domain. Don't throw your stuff in my domain. And then it makes it harder for me to clean because I'm like, okay, what am I going to do with her,
her stuff,
whatever she put down there, her crap.
Well, like you were saying, Casey, sometimes, you have a video that's coming up and you have other things to get put away. And I've done the same thing. And I mentioned earlier that I actually have stuff over here on the shelf for videos that I planned maybe a year ago. And because of the scope of those videos, sometimes I'm like, all right. And then I ordered this little package right here, which Mike's going to be helping me out with. And I mentioned that to you.
I'll be helping you out with your package.
Yes, you'll be helping me out with we're going to be playing post office. But I think I might have mentioned that idea to you, maybe almost a year ago already, because
I would say probably 7-8 months.
Yeah. So I mean, it's finally coming to fruition, but it's been sitting here on the shelf, and this was in that closet over there, and then it just kind of just fell out of the closet. Well, it didn't fall out of the closet, but I was taking stuff out of the closet trying to find something. I'm like, I know that's in here. And I go, oh, that's right, this is in here. I totally forgot. Now I will show one thing that is in this box that'll just scare the living hell out of you. So there's.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, look at that.
If Phil could only be here.
Worship it.
Underrated classic.
I never had a problem with it because at the age that came out, I never played an arcade machine, so I didn't know any better.
Yep. I was the same way. That was my first Pac-Man, so I don't mind. It's a fine game. It's a bad port. I acknowledge it's a bad port, but it's a fine game.
It's a running joke on my channel too. So,
gentlemen, we have talked about what we collect, how we curate our collections. We've talked about budgeting and how we finance these collections. I think we have covered everything that I promised in the title. So we are going to wrap things up now. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Again, whether you watched on my channel or on the Retro Bliss Gaming channel, thank you for watching us. And if you're watching us after, thanks for coming and watching after, because Papa Pete does have better ratings most nights. But that is it for us. We'll see you next time. Later, guys.